Ayesha Curry went on Red Table Talk Show and she admitted that she wanted attention from other men while being currently married to Steph Curry because men don't check her out like females check out her husband. So with that being said, let's check out that clip real quick and I'll be right back with some more commentary.
Something
Here's
that
the video.
really bothers me and like honestly has given me a sense of a little bit of an insecurity is the fact that, yeah, like there are all these women like throwing themselves, but me, like the past 10 years, like I don't have any of that. Like I have zero, this sounds weird, but like male attention. And so then like I begin to internalize it and I'm like, is something wrong with me?
You're not
On it, but it'd be nice to know that like someone's looking.
But when you're dangerous.
Okay, so it's looking like Ayesha Curry haven't changed much at all because she's currently facing backlash for taking off her wedding ring when a bodybuilder was bringing out drinks to her and other women on a talk show. So with that being said, let's check out that clip right here and I'll be right back with some more commentary. Here's the video. A lot of people.
All right, Shalom, Akim and Nakwa. This is your brother Azariah. I want to start by giving all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, the true name of the Most High God, doing so in the name of His only begotten Son, the Lord and Savior, for those who have accepted Him. Yahawashi, the true name of who the world calls Jesus Christ. All right, and we're going to get this kicked off with the book of Romans chapter 8 and verse 1. There is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in Hamashiach Yahawashi, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. All right, and so that's what it is. No condemnation is on those who are walking in Hamashiach Yahawashi, those who are in Him, right? They walk not after the flesh, but those who are walking after the Spirit. Okay, and this goes, right, to show that, you know, dealing with the topic at hand, right, dealing with someone like Ayesha Curry. Okay, so yeah, obviously we know Ayesha Curry is someone that's, you know, not, at least not on the forefront, right? But clearly, you know, if she was, it would reflect she wouldn't operate as such, right? She's not in Yahawashi Hamashiach, right? Now she may have the title of, you know, dealing with Jesus Christ, you know, and we know how that goes. They've, you know, Stephen Curry, right? Ayesha Curry and Stephen Curry have been painted as Christians. Now, for those who don't know, of course, Ayesha Curry is the wife of Stephen Curry. You know, famous all-star ball player, you know, potential Hall of Fame, probably first ballot Hall of Famer, you know, if we were to make it to that time in this captivity, which I doubt, but we never know. You know, of course, he's revolutionized the game with his three-point shooting, you know, all the 100 yards, you know, for the accolades he's played in the NBA, right? Point guard. So, you know, we know how that goes. And, you know, it just still shows the show, right? She's still not happy. You know, she has said, as we've seen in the video, that she wants to have attention from other men to validate herself. Because Steph gets that attention from other women, right? But she doesn't have that backup from her end to validate herself that she's, you know, she's worthy, right? Because there's something in her mind just wants to have more. And we know, you know, they've been painted as Christians, right? So-called Christians, right? Modern day Christianity, you know, but we know they're not of Yahawashi Hamashiach. And we know that spirit does not dwell in, you know, the sister Ayesha Curry, you know, yet anyway. You know, potentially it could, you know, if that's the Most High's will for her to repent and change. But, you know, as it is of now, we've seen in her pattern, she's actually grown worse, you know, over time. I remember Ayesha Curry being somebody of someone who used to actually, you know, be, you know, at least operating and happy to operate as a modest woman in this gospel, you know, in the walk, so like not in the gospel, but, you know, just in her walk as being a wife, and her, so-called Christian, religious belief, right? She's operated as such, right? She used to be a modest woman, and Steph Curry and Ayesha Curry would be like a goals painted relationship, and and then she just started, just demanding or wanting, attention, right? More and more attention to validate herself. She even got her own cooking. She has her own cooking, like, I believe, I don't know if it's a channel or a show she has, but she definitely she had a business where she was doing her chef thing, and getting noticed for that. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? But, she's just, now all of a sudden, it's just to the point where, like, look, she doesn't want to be just Stephen Curry's wife. She wants a little more. So we look at this post here, right? This is Ayesha Curry's Twitter. These are some of her tweets that she did back in December 5th, 2015. Now it says, everyone's into barely wearing clothes these days, huh? Not my style. I like to keep the good stuff covered up for the one who matters. Just looking at the latest fashion trends, I'll take classy over trendy any day of the week, right? And that's what she really said that, and it was an inspiration, right, to a lot of sisters. Some, of course, would buck up and, it doesn't matter, what about my body, I can do it. You have that stance. People just take a hard-headed approach instead of just being, humble enough to be mellow and understand, just be humble and understand how it benefits you, right? How it can help you, and why, saying it's like that, why it should be like that. But, Ayesha Curry, right, she used to get on that, like, hey, look, everyone's doing this, not my style, right? So this is 2015, around the time where actually Steph was being known for the 3-point specialist, the marksman that he is, right? Being known as Stephen Curry, solidifying himself as Stephen Curry, right? That year is where it actually was his, like, I think it was his MVP year. And so this is, remember, Ayesha Curry was like that. She was modest, at least from a worldly standpoint, right? There's some things that could probably be addressed in terms of a woman that's in the Lord wouldn't wear some of the certain things that she probably wore, right? But at least she was covered, right? She was covered from a worldly stance. She was covered, and that was her stance on that. And look, I'm not gonna be out here like these women that are half naked and showing all their goods and all of that jazz. That's what she was on. She's not in for the trends, right? Now we fast forward, and it's a whole different ball game now, right? Because she'll, I'm not gonna go. There was a issue of her getting completely, she's nude for it, and she kind of played it off and saying, oh, only, it's only shins and shoulders, guys. That's all she was showing, right? But I'm not gonna pull that photo out, of course. But basically, I think, and this might have been it, to be honest. But it was definitely worse than this. But that's just what it is, man. Like, you see, it's gotten worse. She has gotten worse over time, into being, hey, look, again, I'm trying to show myself as more than just a Curry. I have my own stance. I can take my own stand in it. And then, so you see the video, it gets to the point where it's gotten to the point where, hey, look, she can just start to take her ring off when a guy comes through, right? And there was on that talk show with a lot of, just sisters on there, like a girl talk show. And they weren't operating, of course. It was a whole multitude of just worldly wickedness just there, and so now he had a male servant come by, and that was another thing that was a little off, right? Like, I guess he was to act as some stripper, but he was a male servant. Had him come by, and she's over here taking her ring off, acting like she's getting ready to take her ring off, and just ready to throw it all away, right? That's what it symbols. She's ready to throw it all away, and it's crazy because you can bet, right? Everyone could be willing to bet that man doesn't make more than Stephen Curry, right? Probably doesn't have more people coming after more women coming after him than Stephen Curry does. Why? Because Stephen Curry is known, right? He's a famous basketball player. He's a famous player. Like his name, commercials, his name, you hear that name and you know it. He's made a name for himself, but she's been around him, so she's that mentality of her wanting to explore new things, you know what I'm saying? It's there, and it's obvious that she's not operating as such, right? She doesn't operate as such in the Lord, because if she did, she wouldn't participate in those things, right? She wouldn't even play around like that, right? You could say that they probably were playing around, and she was playing around, and that's how she would have played it off, and her and Steph probably laughed about it at the house, right? We don't know, right? But it's just, even still, right? That's not something to do, right? That's not something that you do. A woman of the Lord would know to reverence her husband, right? So like, you go into a tweet now that's quoting, right? Her 2015 quote, "Everyone's into barely wearing clothes these days, huh? Not my style. I like to keep the good stuff covered up for the one who matters." December 5th, 2015, Ayesha Curry on Twitter. And so the guy, he quoted what she put in there after she did her naked pose, right? And then now her response was, "When you realize I was talking about a person wearing nipple pasties, leaving a Starbucks, and thought it was hilarious, but no one cared to ask." And she's just trying to throw it off and go around to deviate from the point that she initially made back then, because she knows she done messed up. She knows, oh yeah, I did say that. And she's gone from that to, I need to have this attention, so much attention, that I'll go ahead and pose naked, right? Okay, so wearing, because it doesn't make any sense, wearing some pasties, right? You see, even if this was someone wearing some pasties leaving a Starbucks, is, while that's all off as well, you don't think you fall into that same category of, now you're showing even though she didn't show you couldn't see things within the photo, to the audience couldn't see nothing, but guess what? You had to go to that shoot, and other men, right? Women probably there too, but men were there. So now you have men that were on photo shoot that have seen, Steph Curry's wife naked. Like, it's just all out of order, right? That's off in itself. People had to take that photo shot, man. So it's just all types of off, right? It's just, and it's a disrespect, saying, to her husband, right? From doing such thing, to do such a thing, right? When we go into let's go into the book of Sirach, chapter, let's go into Sirach 26, right? And get Sirach 26 and 13. "The grace of a wife delighteth her husband, and her discretion will fatten his bones," right? So the grace of a woman delighteth her husband, man. You have the woman that has grace and is operating in the Lord, right? Will fatten his bones, strengthen him, right? That's what a woman should be looking to do, right? When we go real quick into again, let's go into the etymology of woman. It says adult female, late in the Old English, windman plural, literally woman, man, right? And we'll go jump all the way down. It says woman, a female servant, because it's a compound of with or woman, so with men, right? And when you go and look at that, with man, woman, female servant, right? It's tied into wife, to a wife. So when you deal with that, a woman is meant, all in all, a woman is meant to be a wife. And that's, as we've seen, right, where Adam was created first, and then Eve was made from Adam, for Adam, right? So, that's just the ordinance of things. And, a wife should delight, and should be delighted in delighting their husband. Okay, and a man should be making it easy as well for the woman to do so. And by her, now Verse 22, on the flip side, an harlot shall be accounted as a spittle, but a married woman is a tower against death to her husband. Right? So if a harlot out here, even given the projection that she may want to be around other guys, just wants the attention. Because that's the temptation. That's the temptation when you have a woman that just wants to look around for other guys to have the attention there just in case. Right? That's the temptation of Satan coming through. Right? That to have the options. And it says that harlot shall be accounted as spittle, right? Showing themselves. You just getting naked in front of other men, right? Everybody else to potentially to look at, even her body just there, even if you can't see nothing. But again, like she pulled up to the set, other people could. So it's one of those things, right? And it's not just you got other men that women are doing this too. Russell Wilson and Sierra, notable one, right? We don't need to talk about Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union. So these are examples of women and men, right, that are not in the Lord, right? Neither of them. And so this is how you can tell the women that are in the flesh, right? They're dwelling in the flesh. They're not going to operate with the spirit of Yahawashi HaMashiach. They're not going to act as a woman should all the way through. Because we've seen what happened with Steph Curry, his wife, with Ayesha Curry. She was doing certain things, again, trying to, like, at least from a worldly standpoint, modest clothing, at least being covered. And now she just continue to be worse and seeking after men attention, to the point now she plays around with throwing her ring, acting like she's gonna take her ring off. And this is Steph Curry has over millions and millions, man. His deal is worth millions of dollars. They have a family together, already set. Like, she is set for life. From a carnal standpoint, from a worldly standpoint, she is set for life. So it just goes to show, right? Verse 25, a shameless woman shall be counted as a dog, but she that is shamefaced will fear Yahweh. See that? So someone that's shamefaced, a woman that's shamefaced, a woman that honor her husband will be judged. And verse 26, a woman that honor her husband shall be judged wise of all, but she that dishonoreth him in her pride shall be counted ungodly of all. So we show, right? She's a shameless woman, right? A shameless woman will be counted as a dog, but someone that is shamefaced, right, will fear Yahweh, right? And she'll be wise by honoring her husband, right? She's judged as a wise woman. But she that dishonoreth him in her pride, right? Because it's something she wants to do. Women, a lot of women, men too, man, men and women, our people in Israel, man, we deal with this pride thing pretty heavy, man. And they're going to be counted ungodly. So she's acting ungodly by even just by dishonoring her husband, right? Even if a woman that's in the Lord is, let's say a woman in the Lord, right? Like what Paul was writing to the Corinthians, a woman that's in the Lord. And I'm speaking the Lord, Yahweh, Bashem, Yahawashi, right? The true Most High God and the true only begotten Son, the Lord and Savior, right? If a woman is in that, even she having a husband that's not in the Lord, right, is not going to do things. If she's in the spirit of Yahawashi, the spirit of Yahawashi is in her, she's not going to do things to dishonor, her husband in that regard, even though he's in the world, and he's not going to subscribe to those things that are of the Lord, right? But she's going to do the best for her sake, for her salvation to still operate in that role, and that just shows, Ayesha Curry right here doesn't have that spirit, is not dwelling within her, okay, to operate as she should. Let's go back to Romans 8, right? Romans 8 and 5. We'll keep it going. For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the spirit, the things of the spirit. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Because the carnal mind is enmity against Yahweh, for it is not subject to the law of Yahweh, neither indeed can be. So then they that are in the flesh cannot please Yahweh. But ye are not in the flesh, but in the spirit. And you say you can't please the Most High in the flesh, right? We can't, right? The carnal mind is enmity against the Most High. It can't be subject to the law of Him, right? But ye are not in the flesh, but in the spirit, if so be that the spirit of Yahweh dwell in you. Now, if any man have not the spirit of Hamashiach, he is none of his. Right? So if any man have not the spirit of Hamashiach, he is none of his. And this, obviously, we can interchange man with woman as well. Right? Because we're talking about believers in Yahawashi. Right? And there's verse 10, and if Hamashiach be in you, the body is dead because of sin, but the spirit is life because of righteousness. Right? Verse 11, but if the spirit of him that raised up Hamashiach from the dead dwell in you, he that raised up Hamashiach from the dead shall also quicken your mortal bodies by his spirit that dwelleth in you. Right? So this is why we operate in the flesh. For verse 14, for as many as are led by the spirit of Yahweh, they are the sons of Yahweh. And that is what it is. If you're being led by the spirit of Yahweh, they are the sons and daughters as well of Yahweh. It's interchangeable, though we do know that the man is the head and is the lead. And the order, we know according to 1 Corinthians 11:3 that we're dealing with the Most High being the top of all, the Dan Dada, Yahweh, right? Then Yahawashi Hamashiach, then the man, and then the woman. We already know how that order goes. And we'll go here just for anybody needing that. So 1 Corinthians 11:3. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Hamashiach, and the head of woman is the man, and the head of Hamashiach is Yahweh. Right? And so we know that the order is there, and how we're to operate as men and women in terms of playing the role, doing the role, operating in our role naturally, right? So, we understand that, of course, we understand that this is why things were written, like when you see the Galatians, what Paul was writing to them. We're believers. We're talking about for believers in the whole of Yahawashi Hamashiach. Galatians 3:28. There is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither bond nor free. There is neither male nor female. For ye are all one in Hamashiach, Yahawashi. And if you be Hamashiachs, then are ye Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. Right? This is why he said it. Jew nor Greek, bond nor free, neither male nor female. Right? For you are one in Hamashiach Yahawashi. It means regardless of whether it be your gender, or where you live, where you claim. Meaning if you're a Jew, you're still sitting in Jerusalem, or if you were a Greek, you were considered a Greek. If you were in that time, wherever you were claimed as, or you were known as, your citizenship, right? Or what you were known as, you are an Israelite according to the flesh, but even deeper, you are a believer in Yahawashi Hamashiach, and by you being a believer in Yahawashi Hamashiach, you're Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise, because that's where the promise goes to ultimately, right? So, this is how we know. You see the differences in a woman who operates, in the ways of Yahweh Bashim Yahawashi, because they're striving to move, in the way that he moves, and they're doing their role, right? The way that he would tell them or command them to move, right? And their role being what? Like being submissive to their husband. Let's get to the book of Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 22. Right? Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Hamashiach is the head of the church, and he is the savior of the body. Therefore, as the church is subject unto Hamashiach, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. Right? So we're going to see a woman that's going to try to operate and do that. She's moving in the spirit. The spirit of the Lord will come upon her, and she would believe. So that's the true way of a woman to move in the Lord. That's truly dealing with a woman of God, right? What you would call a woman of God, a woman of the Lord. Not to be out here ministering as far as an aspect of teaching and going into scriptures and breaking things down, making that attempt, like you see a woman in the pulpit, right, in the Christian churches. But if she does minister, is of a testimony. Okay, she's gonna be doing her role, right? She's gonna be doing her role. So let's get to the, for example, right? Let's get to the book of Judith, chapter 16 and verse 1. Right? Then Judith began to sing this thanksgiving, and all Israel and all the people sang after her this song of praise. And Judith said, begin unto my God with timbrels, sing unto my Lord with cymbals, tune unto him a new song, exalt him and call upon his name. For Yahweh breaketh the battles, for among the camps in the midst of the people he hath delivered me out of the hands of them that persecuted me. Right? She's giving thanks to the Most High, giving praise to him, right? Right? For her, and doing that song, right? For her people, man. For the Most High, really, for doing the song for the Most High. And, hey, convincing them, hey, look, join along, man. Sing for the Most High, for he's delivered us, from at the time, right? Delivered her out of persecution, and delivered her people, ultimately, right? Because of her actions. So, that's an example, right? Judith is a prime example of a woman of the Lord. Sister should be striving, to be as such, right? To operate in that role. Let's also get to the book of Luke, chapter 8, right? Dealing with the ministering, right? Luke 8 and 1. And it came to pass afterward that he went throughout every city and village, preaching and showing the glad tidings of the kingdom of Yahweh, and the 12 were with him. And certain women, which had been healed of evil spirits and infirmities, Mary called Magdalene, out of whom went 7 devils, and Joanna, the wife of Chusa, Herod's steward, and Susanna, and many others which ministered unto him of their substance, right? And of course, they're not trying to tell her this is how you break down scriptures and go into such and such precept upon precept, line upon line. They're not, doing that, but they are ministering to him, of, it would be like a sense of their testimonies, right? And how the Lord has, brought them to them the same way Judith was giving the praise to the Lord, right? Doing these type of things, right? There's ways for women to, get their voice out, but still be within the order, to the ways of the Most High and how he put it, giving out that testimony and, form of ministering, even giving prayers, healing. That's right. These are examples of women of Yahweh Bashem Yahawashi and operating as such. And these are the examples that we want our sisters to follow, operating in the spirit of Yahawashi, right? And everything else falls into place. So I hope this was edifying, for brothers, especially really for sisters on this one. Understand, you can move in Yahawashi, and your role is not to be, your role is a beautiful role, and it is your strength. This is how you're exalted, in a sense, into your role of moving in the ways of Yahweh Bashem Yahawashi, and trying to secure your way and enduring to the end. This is securing your way to everlasting life, right? Not the seeking of the attention of the matters of this world, right? But the gospel, which is the truth, which we know will lead to everlasting life. Right? This is 1 Corinthians 12 and 12. For as the body is one and have many members, and all the members of that one body being many are one body, so also is Hamashiach. For by one Spirit are we all baptized into one body, whether we be Jews or Gentiles, whether we be bond or free, and have been all made to drink in the one Spirit. All right. So with that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahawashi. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth that are learning and or teaching His gospel in truth and sincerity, diligently seeking Yahawashi Mashiach, right? Praying, enduring to the end, that we may be counted worthy to escape all things that come in place to this earth, all the plagues that will come upon the earth, worthy to face the Son of Man and be delivered from his wicked captivity. Until next time, Yahawah, Wheresoever, Shalom.